What do you and a skeleton have in common? Absolutely nothing. Unless you start drawing one with me today over at twitch.tv/lilJonnyJ. Did you guys know that you guys can come and join along and draw with me? Anyways, to the video. Today, we're cracking open our anatomy books and studying the most iconic piece of the skeleton, the skull! So grab your stylus, your pen, your mouse, whatever you use to draw along, and come and draw with me today as I show you guys how to properly draw a skull. I got a reference board set up in Magma with a couple of pictures, a sketch as you can see up there. And today we're going to be figuring out why maybe, just maybe, every single 14-year-old had a skeleton OC back in 2014. Good art, bad art, we're all here to learn. So why don't we start with number one. If you want to take the skull and you want to draw it really easy. You want to draw it really easy. You first have to decide what shapes make up the skull. So, a lot of people when they go to draw heads, they'll start with like a circle like this. Maybe they'll go down there like that, and then maybe like that. You know, just kind of willy-nilly going at it, but they don't really understand what goes into the skull, right? Sure, they might even know about cutting it off right here. But the problem with that is that when you actually go to draw a skull, if you draw a circle right here, you'll notice that there's a bit of an overlap. So, how do you fix that? Well, did you know that in skulls, the cranium portion is not actually a perfect circle? It's actually an oval. So you can kind of, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just a slight little oval. Imagine it like a rounded box. Just like that. And already, you basically have drawn the skull. Eye sockets are actually a lot bigger than the eyes. Your eyeballs don't grow once you're born. Actually will always have a slight dent. Imagine it like a 90-degree angle. So if you were to go ahead and draw the nose, it actually goes in here like that. And then, you know, it smooths out because there's no perfect lines on any part of a person. Now you might be asking, Johnny, why did you draw the arrow there? Well, when a lot of people go to draw a skull, they'll draw like a line for the eyes, and they're not really thinking about the skull in a three-dimensional space, which a skull, everything is. No matter if you're drawing cartoons, anime, realism, everything exists in a three-dimensional space, whether it be mimicked or not. So, how can you fix that? Well, once you have this right here, when you go to draw a character, when you draw that little line right there to see which direction they're facing, and the eyes, you're not actually drawing the line right here just to be like, okay, well, I just want the eyes to like not be like one down here, and then him smiling like that.
Bruh.
No. You actually, this right here, this part right here, can we get a zoom in on that? This part right here is the nose bridge. That is where everything starts to separate out from the nose. The nose bridge will always be right there. For now, you can either just draw a square like that, but you always have to remember that there is always going to be a little bit of a gap right here. Right where your nose starts detaching. So if I were to redo this, instead of having that straight line right there, I would actually make the line just a little bit curved. Just a little bit. As in, you can see on this one right here. So now you might be asking, okay, Johnny, well, I have that now, but it still looks like a ball. Well, of course it looks like a ball. We haven't gotten there yet. A lot of you anime drawers already know this, but you can actually simplify a drawing and give a character a little bit more three-dimensionality by just drawing a line right here. Now, you might be asking, Johnny, what does that accomplish? Well, it accomplishes a couple of things. One, did you know that your head actually has two flat sides on it? Well, slightly flat. Here's something you can do at home. Take both your hands like this. Put it on your forehead like this. And go, okay, yeah, you know what, that's round. Take both your hands and go. And notice how it doesn't start rounding back out until the back of your head. The sides of a face are usually flat, depending, of course, on body makeup, how much fat is around the cheeks, etc., etc. We don't actually have to go into too much detail on that for now. But to simplify things, especially for drawing a skull, just remember that the sides of a face are usually flat. So now you have to consider, okay, So we have that down. We know where things should go, but how do we draw it? Well, because you put this line right here, what you can actually do is now you can just draw in 2 ovals just like this, remembering to keep in the little bit of a gap that the nose bridge causes. Does not have to be perfect, because you can always come back in here and start going like that, going like that, going like that. I'm already getting ahead of myself. What I'm getting at is, right now, all you have to do is just remember, when you are drawing a skeleton, you can actually just kind of simplify a cheekbone. Even though you're not drawing it just yet, you can simplify a cheekbone with just triangles. With just triangles. Boom. Boom. You already have the cheekbones down. As you can see, they are perfectly in sync, just like that. 2 triangles and you'll already have the cheekbones. So back to the nose bridge. Now you might want to go in here and start drawing in the skeleton just like that and go, oh yeah, dude, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. No! When you think about a skeleton, no matter what, your nose bridge, go ahead and feel your nose right now. Take both your fingers. I hope you washed your hands. Take both your fingers and just start feeling your nose just like this. Now the part that moves in your nose is the cartilage. But if you start going up, oh, what's that hard bit up there? Well, that's your bone. And if you notice, going back to this right here, it curves. It curves. Okay, well, it's not just immediately a hole right there. No. So what you can do to simplify that, actually, is just draw in a square. Right below, if you can see in the reference image here, so right below the cheekbone, going like that, is when your nose bridge stops. So, with that same logic, still just drawing in a simple triangle just like that. Now, it looks a little funky, I know, but that is the basic shape that makes that up right there. And it even overlaps a little bit into the eyeball. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. We're not refining anything right now. We're focusing on the basic shapes that make up the skull. All we have to do is then go back to our reference image here and realize that, oh, well, this person's nose bridge is a little bit longer, and all nasal cavities are actually wider on the bottom than they are on the top. And what I mean by that is they all reference this shape right here. This prism shape. That's what if you're just trying to simplify it, that's the shape you should be going for. Okay, well then let's redraw the nose, but with that shape in mind. And remembering about the rule of the cheekbones. Okay, well then I'll just go in here just kind of like that. Just kind of, oops, oh, it's okay to Control Z a million times. Oh, and wait a minute. Oh, would you look at that? If you take the side of the triangle that you've just drawn right here, and you take that, you draw all the way up right there. You guys notice what's up here? That's the start of your eyebrow ridge. Okay, well then let's take a look here. Even though the eye sockets aren't perfect, even though the eye sockets aren't slanted like how they are in the skull, it still lines up. Same thing with this one. You take a straight line from here. Oh, and that doesn't line up. I wonder why. When if you take this one, it's because perspective. Actually, no. It would still kind of come up and go like that. You don't actually have to draw these lines every single time. I just want to show you guys that there's a lot of correlation and things that can help you when you're actually drawing a character. Your nose will always point straight up to your eyebrows. Just like that. You know, you can start going in here, just kind of drawing whatever you want, right? And blah, 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 blah. But you still notice how it still curves right here. Still goes down here like that. Even if you start adding in detail just like this, it still curves down, still goes in there just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. It still lines up with the eyebrow ridge right here. Okay, so now while we're still kind of on the face area, let's go back to these eyeballs. We drew 2 simple little ovals with without taking into fact that, well, a lot of things on the human face are slanted. And you can fix that pretty much just by remembering where that eyebrow ridge was. Just kind of extending it from there. It does not have to be perfect just yet, but you can still kind of go in here and just extend it just like that. And it's looking more and more skull-like. Beautiful. And you still have the eyebrow ridge, right? This is where the eyebrows would start, because your eyebrows are connected to your eye socket. That's why they're called eyebrows. Beautiful. Okay, well now we have that down, right? Now we have that down. But you might be wondering, Johnny, what about this cheekbone here? Well, I'm gonna let you in on a dirty little artist secret. I lied to you. The two triangles there are mostly just for reference point. It's actually more or less, you know, like that for the cheekbone. Kind of like a half moon crescent just around the eye. And then you can kind of go into whatever shape, but we keep things simple. We keep things simple. Okay, so now that you have that done, so right beside the eyeball, the eyeball on the right side here, you will notice that there's a huge hole right here. That's where your temples are, right behind the eye sockets. And you might be wondering, Johnny, how can we simplify that? Well, you can either go in here and pretty much just properly just go like that, and then you can start shading it in. No, that's too much. That's too much. A good way is with these two circles here is just for now to kind of go around the eye socket and go like that. Just like that. One little triangle right here. One little triangle right here, right after this one. And then a little curved line almost going along with your red line right here. I gotta fix that. I had to do that manual. I thought I had it fixed and all that, but you can still kind of see the correlation between these two, right? Nowhere here is there really a difference. What's this part then, you may ask, Johnny? This part right here? That is actually your cheekbone. This is your cheekbone. That part right there, the cheekbone doesn't actually stay on your face. If you feel your cheekbones, so take off your headphones at home, feel your cheekbones. Feel your cheekbones and start working all the way back. Oh, then you go up. Your cheekbone goes into the flat sides of your face. So you might be asking, Johnny, what about this triangle right here? Bam. See that line I just drew there? Bam. See how they match up perfectly? Oh my god, massaging that feels really good. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, dude. Learning art also comes with the bonus of learning all the good massage points. So now what you can do is, as you can see, at the point of this blue right here, at the point right here is when it starts to curve down. Okay, well then let's follow along that exact same thing. Oh wow. See how that perfectly lines up? Perfectly lines up? Beautiful, right? It's beautiful, I know, right? Okay, so now let's work on the forehead. So if you take a look at this forehead here, it's not actually perfectly round. It actually goes up a little bit right after the eye socket here, and then becomes round. And you can feel this yourself by feeling your eyebrows. Feeling your eyebrows, right? Like if you were looking this way, you can feel your own eyebrows. And then, oh yeah, then it goes a little flat right there, and then it starts curving. A lot of art is really just touching yourself. Touch yourself. Touch yourself. Touch yourself. So let's follow along that same logic there. For now, I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Just along here, I'm just going to add in just a little bit of a curve right here. You'll call me a gooner, not an artist. And then we're going to put that in right there. We're going to create a flat surface. A flat surface. Just like that. You see? See the correlation? See the correlation? I'm not going for a 1-for-1. Just to make it a little harder for myself. And then you can connect that to your oval. Because now you have the top portion of the skull. All nice and drawn. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at everyone in here. Y'all are drawing a bunch of beautiful... Oh my god, Moldy. Okay, Moldy. Okay, Moldy. We see it. We see the drip, Moldy. I'm joking. I'm joking, Moldy. I love you. Back to the cheekbones. You'll notice how there's actually a little bit of a curve there. You don't have to worry about three-dimensionally. there's just a little bit of a curve right there. And where does this curve coincidentally end? At the end of the eye socket. So if you are to draw in this curve, just make sure it doesn't go past the start of the eye socket. Why do I need to know that? Well, because on the same side, on this side here, back to the cheekbone, you can kind of simplify it just like that, making sure that it all lines up just like that. You don't have to really worry too much about, like, is it 1-to-1? Oh my god, is it 1-to-1? No, stop that. That's perfectionism. If I see you being a perfectionist, that's on sight. That is your jaw. So let's take a close look at the jaw here. Just me and you, together. Just me and you. No one else. No one else. Just me and you. Do you notice how maybe it's not flat? It's like if you draw a line right there, it's not flat. Oh my god, dude, that's not flat. What the heck? It actually has a little bit of a curve, just like, oh, fucked up. A little bit of a curve. But Johnny, how do I know how to draw that curve? Well, before we even begin on the bottom jaw, start on the top, the part that's actually connected to the cranium. So, it's pretty simple actually. Pretty simple to draw this. So, remember this little line right here that we were drawing? Remember that little line? Well, do you guys notice anything? If you take this exact shape, and then you just invert it, and then you just kind of can continue on this. Nice little curved line like that. Now, my side over here, my little sketch, is looking a little funny. Well, now, why is it looking a little funny? Well, maybe it's because we haven't actually drawn the bottom of it. So, what you can do then is curve this out just like that. So, just a lot of curves. And if you notice this part of the skull right here, it's just another curve. Oh, wow, that looks goofy, Johnny. What are you doing? So curvy. See how many curves there are in a skull? It's not lines. There's no, I've not drawn any perfectly straight lines. It's always been some sort of a curve. Is that another curve right there? Oop, I'm just gonna adjust this a little bit. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna, so like that. Nom 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 nom. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. It now looks like General Grievous. And that's okay. That's okay. And that is okay. Do you notice this little part on the skeleton right here? This little part that connects to the rest of the nose right here. Let me go to red for y'all for a second. This little part right here. Well, do you notice anything? Do you notice anything about that? Because I sure do. It actually extends outside. And it goes down kind of just like that. You see that? How it extends a little bit just outside of where you drew the triangle. It extends just a little bit out. And that's to kind of give it a little bit of an area to then go into your teeth. So we can kind of just draw in another line just like that. Just like that. You see how many curves there are? See how many curves there are in a skeleton? Okay. Beautiful. And you don't really have to worry about the teeth. Teeth are basically just like flat at the bottom, a little bit rounded, just like that, you know. The teeth aren't the important part. You already have this top line right here, to go off of. So all you have to do is add in more curves for the teeth. Give them buck teethers. Oh yeah, no, that's the awesome thing about art, you know. Then you can go in here and give them like some SpongeBob teeth or whatever, but for now we're just gonna kind of focus on the realism portion of it. Okay, awesome. Well, you see this line right here? Well, all you have to do is add in another little line right there that connects into this. And where does this line connect to? Right there. Beautiful. We already have a pretty good base for a skeleton right now. A really good base for a skeleton. Really good. We're not even being a perfectionist. We're not trying to draw it 1-to-1. We're just going for the base. Just remember that. Okay, well then let's add in another little curve right here. And, oh, what is that I'm starting on? Oh, I'm glad you asked. This is the part of your body that chews your food. This right here. This is the part of your body that chews the food. Everything else, when you chew food, everything else stays stationary. This is the only part of your skull right here that actually moves. Let's take a look at the jaw here. Remember that little curve I made? I kind of fucked up on my curve. Whoopsies. The curve should always go just a little bit below the teeth right there. Let's get this jaw here into just some basic little shapes to help you guys understand it three-dimensionally. A jaw can basically be defined as rectangular. Even if someone is male, female, etc., etc., it's just going to be a different variation of this front square here. The back here will always remain the exact same. Some people have like a really chiseled jawline. No matter what, it's going to stay the same. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know when a lot of people draw skulls, the second they start on the jaw, things get overwhelming. But it shouldn't be overwhelming, because look at how far you've come already if you're drawing along. See all these nice little lines right here that you've drawn? You've basically drawn the skull already. If you've drawn... Okay, Johnny, well, if I've drawn the skull already, what do I do next? Well, the top of the jaw is basically just a bone that kind of looks like this. This is a little bit exaggerated, but that's basically what the top is. Okay, well, I added in a nice little curve right there. And then from right behind here, I'm just going to add in a curved line. So, let's go back on the reference here. Let's go back on the reference here. See? Check. Nice little curve. Nice little curve. Right? Still going back into the skull. And do you notice how this part of the jaw, even on the reference photo, isn't a straight line? That's because you should never be doing straight lines, ever. Okay, well then. Okay, Johnny, Mr. Know-It-All there. What do you do next? So, you remember this part right here? Do you notice how the tip right here, do you notice how it coincidentally lines up with the tip, the middle of the chin? Let's just start drawing that in then. Once again, remember, no straight lines. You can always use curved lines or whatever you gotta do. Whatever you gotta do. We can always remember, back to what we did earlier, of the little shape, the little triangular shape, just like that, because your jaw, your teeth aren't gonna be perfect. Or maybe they have an underbite. You know, we don't have to worry about that. You can always change up the skeleton a little bit later. You might be saying, Johnny, doesn't the skull look a little too handsome? And you're absolutely right. And the awesome thing, especially about digital art, is you can take your eraser and you can kind of just slim up the skull just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe, don't worry about what I'm doing back here. Don't worry about what I'm doing back here, okay? Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Handsome Squidward jawline. Handsome Squidward jawline, indeed. Indeed. Okay, well then, the bottom jaw's teeth would start right there, following along, right? Same shape as the nose. Same shape as the nose. Same shape as the nose. And then the teeth would actually kind of come in there and go just a little bit behind. I don't know if you can see that right there. A little bit behind the front teeth. Just a little bit. And then you can kind of go in here just like that. And, you know, once again, just the curved shapes. Just the curved shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect just yet. Oh my god, dude. Would you look at that? We have a skull. We have a skull. Now you can worry about the three-dimensionality. Do you see how many things line up when you draw a skull? A good way to check if your skull's good or not is to flip it. I forgot to flip it, but you know, in Magma, for instance, you can press H on your keyboard and you can flip your canvas. I say that's a pretty good skull. We've learned so much about the skull and just now we can hold the skull and pretend we're philosophers. I agree. My skull actually turned out decent. Oh, Fork, let's see that. Let's see that. Woo! Man, I'm dead. Man, I'm dead. See, look at what Fork did. Look at what Fork did. Beautiful, Fork. Beautiful. I recognize that art style. That's a Speeply skull. That's a Speeply skull. Moldy. Beautiful. 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 Now that we've learned about the 3/4 skull, we can actually apply all of the things that we have learned into drawing a skull from memory. And now, if you want to go the extra mile, you can kind of take your layer like that and on your sketch layer, just start going in and to outline it, just kind of loosely going in here, kind of just like that. And now if you want to, you can start going in here and shading your guy. Just kind of going in here, kind of following along all the nice little indentations everywhere where the shadows should go in. Like, yeah, whoa, shadow, why are you kissing me like that? You know, like kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog and all that. You know, you can kind of just start going in there, doing whatever you want with the shading. Have fun with the shading. Now, freak stuff brings up a very, very specific kind of skull. What about furry skulls? If this video reaches 1,000 likes for whatever fucking reason, I will do a video on how to draw furries. And with that being said, gamers, thank you so much for drawing along with me today and learning some interesting facts about the skull and how to simplify things. If you guys like this content and want more of it and less of my gameplay, consider hitting that like button, that subscribe button, that share button. The 1,000 likes, and I will do a whole 1-hour video on how to draw furries and how to draw furries good. Have a good night, gamers.